I gotta say, I find the Star Wars community to be absolutely adorable. They're absolutely hilarious because after all this time, they still have hope. I don't know what Luke Skywalker did to them when they were kids, but for some reason, they still have hope after the mouse, completely crushed their spirit, or so I would have thought. You know, like the mouse, took the fandom's head, the fandom's proverbial head, and put it into the toilet, and it like, and then it pulled it back up to have like a gasp of fresh air, and they smelled the Mandalorian. They realized that maybe the movies can be good, but I'm telling you what the mouse is going to do now, is going to put the head back under the water, like, that's what's going to happen. And I'll tell you why, okay? Now, there's one of the reasons that is the topic of the video, but we'll leave that for later. The other reason is, like, I genuinely don't think you can create art by committee like this. This is how they're creating the art, okay? With a whiteboard in a boardroom with a lot of people together. Now, maybe by accident, you can create a Frankensteinian monstrosity of a film that's actually good by doing this technique. I personally don't think that this is how art is working, okay? I don't think that the Mona Lisa was created in a boardroom with people writing down stuff on a whiteboard. I don't think this is the way. It's not the way. I think the way is to have a fat gentleman like George Lucas with a script, and he's like, this is my idea, this is what I thought about it, here's the script. They read the script. If they like it, they make it into a movie. If they don't like it, they tell him to fuck off. I think this is the correct way of making art. I don't think you can make art by committee. Okay? It's not going to work. And then when you look at the whiteboard, it also shows that not only are they making art by committee, but they don't even understand the franchise. They don't even understand the spirit of what it is. I mean, look here. Under Star Wars with a heart, you see not pro-war. Motherfucker, it's called Star Wars. It's the freaking title. It's not that hard. Even a 5-year-old gets it. Why you do this fan disservice? Why you do this fan disservice? Now, of course, you know, you can make a Star Wars movie that's not pro-war. I get it. But why? Why would you do that? Why? Why do you do the fan disservice? Like, the people who go there expect at least the title to be honored. And then you get to see, like, their fascination, their worship of diversity. Okay? And we're going to go into that in a bit. But, like, diversity is actually twice. It's once under fiction, and it's another word under Star Wars wishes, representation, diversity. Like, they have it twice. Okay? Because that's their priority. Like, their priority is ideology. The Force, maybe somewhere down the line. Maybe you can have, like, the Force a little bit. Maybe some space and lightsaber battles. But diversity is at the forefront. This is the best foot forward. This is why people go to see Star Wars. Right, so speaking of diversity, this is why I made the video. People point out that they get to see in San Francisco under the Lucasfilm that they're hiring manager for diversity and inclusion. Okay, because how can you have an inclusive movie without a person being paid thousands of dollars to make sure that it's diverse? So at Lucasfilm, we believe that diversity inclusion is key to market relevance. I would say that key to market relevance, in my humble opinion, is making good stories, is making a compelling universe, and is providing entertainment. But the fuck do I know? I'm not getting paid $200,000 per year like probably the manager of diversity and inclusion is getting paid for. So the manager of diversity and inclusion needs to report to the director of diversity and inclusion. How many people do you need to create diversity and inclusion? How many? Like, it's an army of people at this point. I swear to God, I think like 20 years from now, there's going to be more people that are into the diversity and inclusion industry than there's the actual people producing the product. It's bewildering, isn't it? It's just like mind-boggling. You think like one person is enough, but no. And then they go on and say commitment to inclusive content production within all our lines of business, including Lucasfilm, LucasArts, blah, blah, blah. Advise on content. So you take a twat, just so you can understand what this is. You pluck a twat like poop from the benches of the academia who knows jack shit about writing movies. He knows jack shit about writing movies, and you put him in a position of influence where he gets to dictate on how to write movies. And then they're like, our movies don't sell. Gee, I wonder fucking why. Look, I have never wrote the script for a movie in my life. I don't belong anywhere near the place where they're creating movies because I don't have the input, I don't have the insight, I don't have the talent. But now you get these twats from the benches of academia plucked like poop. You know how the communists would call these people? Apparatchiks. You know how the Romanians call the apparatchiks? We call them social parasites because they couldn't produce anything. But anyway, right, so there's actually a law in San Francisco, from what I understand, that if you have a company that's bigger than a certain number of people, you need to have an HR department. And you need to hire in that HR department people with a license in HRness. So now you have your company taken over by apparatchiks, which hire people, promote people, fire people entirely based on ideology. Good luck putting a good product out now. You know? Like, think about it this way, just so you can understand how dumb this shit is, okay? I'll tell you this from an Eastern European perspective. It's like hiring religious people. It's like hiring priests in your company. It's like, oh, you know, we believe that for market relevance, our company needs to be pious. We need to have piety in our company. So we're going to hire priests to be in charge of making movies. Do you understand how dumb this shit is? Do you understand why this would hurt the project? Like, you might want to have, like, the Emperor Palpatine going around zapping people with his lightning, like, and the priest goes like, oh no, we can't have magic. No. It's a little bit too much. It's like, yeah, but the people love it. Oh yeah, but like, we need to protect the people from the evilness of magic. I mean, Star Wars was always diverse. Like, how on earth did the product work before hiring an army of diversity officers? How did the product manage not to just work in America, but worldwide? Literally, like, Star Wars is a brand that goes around the world. Literally, everyone knows about Star Wars. All right, so it's really not about, like, making it more diverse or inclusive. It was already diverse and inclusive. How did George Lucas manage? My God, put that man in charge of your diversity and inclusion directive. Because clearly he managed to do it. He managed to do it in a time where I believe, like, diversity didn't exist, right? And it was a time of blackface and blah, blah, blah. And yet, George Lucas managed to cast a wide array of characters. How did he manage to do it? No, the man is a genius. The man deserves to be the manager of diversity and inclusion. No, he should be the director of diversity and inclusion. He should be up at the top. You should worship George Lucas. If you're a university professor, you should read on George Lucas how he did it. You should go to study from the man. You're nothing. You're insignificant, you university professor. You need to go to George Lucas and ask him, how did you do it? How did you manage to appeal to so many people without our help? Help us so we can help others. Humble yourself as a university professor teaching this shit. I mean, let me just show you a trailer from the past. Let me show you a trailer with the fans that were waiting for The Last Jedi, and tell me if you notice anything interesting.
All I got to say, the Jedi have returned.
We're just fanatics out here waiting on Return of the Jedi. 3 years in the making. We're waiting for this.
Some people don't idolize Darth Vader like I do. See, I want him to get Luke.
And I think that Luke will destroy Darth Vader.
I guess Darth Vader will die. I'm not sure. I hope he doesn't. I love his black.
Yeah, I think you get the gist of it. So, as you noticed, the fandom was diverse. Now, I've been told by progressives in the media, I've been told that, geeks were gatekeeping women from enjoying the hobby. Geeks are racists and they're keeping black people from enjoying the hobby. And yet, why is it that the 1973 interviews don't add up to the storyline? Why is it that the narrative doesn't hold? Why is this piece of history forgotten? Why are we pretending like Star Wars was not always diverse and always inclusive and literally anyone could join? Did you notice, like, this is a 5-minute interview that I can't play for copyright reasons, but you know what's interesting? Every single person there, whether they're an adult or a child or an old elderly person, whether they're white or black or Asian, whether they're men or women, all they're talking about is Star Wars. All they're talking about is Darth Vader, Luke, and blah, blah, blah. They're not talking politics. They're not talking about, I don't know what happened in 1973. They're not talking about that. They're all there together discussing the fandom. And that's inclusivity. But it's only until the people that advocate for inclusion came into the fandom that the fandom got divided. Now, if you go on an internet forum and you say something negative about Ray, it's like, oh my god, you're such a misogynist, and then you get the death threats, and then you get like the flame wars and the harassment and blah blah blah. You didn't get that in the past. You really didn't get that in the past. You could have gotten to any single Star Wars forum in the past and said negative things about Luke, Darth Vader, or whatever. People would have been like, hey, it's your opinion. And you also got to ask the question, it's like, how was the fandom so inclusive and so diverse without the help of the Inclusive and Diversity Brigade? How did the company manage to save so much money by not paying these activists, and they managed to create exactly what the activists promised to deliver? No, I definitely think it's George Lucas. Like, he needs to have tenure at Columbia University. The university professors need to suck George Lucas's cock, because he's just so much above them. He is so much, like, this is a man born a genius. He's a prodigy. I don't know what else to say. My god, it's, yeah, and by the way, do you want to understand why diversity actually ruins movie? Why the fandom considers that? Take one of the greatest scenes from Star Wars, which is when Leia manages to overcome Jabba the Hutt, right? So you get like Leia being taken as a sex slave, and eventually like she manages to use the chains in order to strangle the Hutt, right? That's in the movie. That's one of the best scenes. It managed to sell so many toys. Do you know who complains about it? Progressives complain about it, because like, oh my god, like Leia is being objectified. We can't have slavery. We can't talk about slavery in a movie, right? So all of a sudden they're removing things which created that interesting story, right? Like, you take a character, you get the character to go through some of the worst hardships ever, you take down the character so that the character then can be built back up, and that roller coaster creates a very interesting ride of emotions into the people watching. Now Disney doesn't want to use the word slave anymore, right? So, because it's not diverse, you can't have that. That's what the shackles of diversity does to the artist. That's how they keep the artist from trying to create good art, from trying to produce stuff that's good. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the comment section, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Take care.